recreation. If this is your first time taking this class, this is beginner friendly. However, I want to remind students that beginner does not always equate with easy. The class may be challenging, and that's okay because we're working towards a practice. It's called a practice for a reason. So just like most exercise classes, we start with a warm-up. We target the areas of the body that we're going to use later in the class. We pick up the pace, we're moving around on our mat a bit more, picking up our heart rate, and then we end with the cool down. Slow down our movement, slow down our breath. And I think the most important part of the class, we end in a final rest period where we remain still on our backs for about 2 to 3 minutes with our eyes closed. And I say it's the most important part of the class because yoga is not just about what we do on our physical body, it's also about what's going on the inside as well. And we're going to use our breath to sort of bring awareness to what goes on in the inside. I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body, take breaks if you need to. If something doesn't feel right, you can completely skip the pose and then hop back in. That's okay. It's your practice, so practice for you. And always check with the doctor before you start a new exercise regimen. For those of my returning students who are a little familiar with the structure of my class, just a heads up that I'm going to change up our sun salutations a little bit today. Just a heads up. So today we're going to get started laying down flat on our backs. My favorite way to start, and I think it's been a little while. So start sitting in the center of your mat with your feet planted on the floor, knees are bent, and then any way you can make your way comfortably down onto your back. You can place hands on the back of your thighs and slide down that way. However you get there is fine with me. Feet are still on the mat and knees are bent. Separate the feet to mat width distance apart. Let the knees fall together. And place your arms out along the floor at shoulder height, palms face up towards the ceiling. Gently tuck your chin in towards your chest, and we'll take a few deep breaths here. Just bringing some awareness and our attention to our bodies and our breath. So I suggest you close your eyes for the first few moments of the class. But if you prefer to keep your eyes open, try to keep your gaze focused on one spot so you're not looking around the room. Nice deep breaths. Give me a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice cleansing breaths. Everything that no longer serves our body and our purpose leaves the body on an exhale. Resume your normal pattern of breath. Turn your head gently to the right, just stretching the neck a bit here. Wiggling the shoulders away from the ears. Then gently turn your head over to the left. Then gaze turns back up towards the ceiling. Draw both knees in towards your chest, feet side by side. Interlace the fingers and hold a few inches below the knees, drawing the thighs close to the body. And if that causes any discomfort on your knees, you can hold on to the back of the thighs instead. Breathe into the back side of the body, on the sides of the body. Nice deep breaths. Release your hold, sending your feet to the mat. Place your arms along the sides of your body, palms face down. If you can't touch the back of your heels with your fingertips, walk the feet in until you can. Then bend the elbows so fingertips face up towards the ceiling. Lift into bridge pose, pressing into the feet as well as the upper arms, lifting the hips off the mat, lifting chin from chest, engaging your core, not holding the breath. Then slowly lowering hips back down to the mat. One more time, pressing into the feet and the arms, lifting the hips, holding here. We're opening our chest, we're strengthening our legs, strengthening our core, then lowering the hips back down to the mat. Draw both knees back into the chest, holding below the knees or on the back of the thighs, and take a few breaths here. Release the legs and return feet to the mat. Extend the right leg up towards the ceiling, holding on to the back of the thigh and pressing out through the heel, relieving stiffness in the legs now. And if you like, you can shift the foot side to side, maybe feeling some more sensations. If you're feeling too much sensation here, keep a gentle bend in the knee. The leg does not have to straighten completely. Just keep pressing out through the heel. Now start to press out through the toes, maybe feeling a stretch on the top of the foot, down the front of the shin. And cross the ankle into figure 4. So raised ankle crosses over left knee and opening up the hip. If you feel enough sensation in the hips here, you can stay here, but if you'd like a little more sensation, float the left foot off the mat, flexing both feet, keeping ankles in line with the knees. You can thread the hands through and hold on to the back of the left thigh for a little support. Low back is pressed to the floor. Chin is gently tucked in towards the chest. Nice long spine. Slowly return both feet to the mat. And extend left leg up to the ceiling, holding on to thigh, pressing out through heel and hold in here. If you shifted the foot side to side, do the same here. Just trying to keep the sides even. Now point through the toes, feeling the stretch on the front side of the leg. And cross the ankle into figure 4, ankle crossing over right knee. Option to stay here or float right foot off the mat. Gently return both feet to the mat. Slowly roll over to one side of your body and gently press yourself up to a seated position and meet me in tabletop on your hands and your knees, wrists stacked under shoulders and knees stacked under your hips. Lift up to the tips of the fingers and round your spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest, drawing belly in towards the spine. Then lift and arch the spine into cow, gazing up towards the ceiling. Lead the movement with your tailbone as you round the spine into cat pose. Then lifting and arching back into cow. Keep up with this movement, moving at your own pace, rounding and lifting the spine. And try tying your breath into the movement, exhaling as you find the roundness in the spine, inhaling as you lift and arch. A few more cat-cows. Then find stillness in your tabletop position. Left toes are going to turn to face the left side of the mat. Right leg extends towards the back of the mat. Just the toes touch, and we'll lift our right arm up to the ceiling. So our body is facing the long edge of our mat now. Lift up to the tips of the left finger. And then lift the right leg into a half moon variation. Leg lifts, heel in line with hip. We're holding here, we're challenging our balance. We're also strengthening our leg and our core. Now just the fingertips are gonna come back down to the mat. Left toes are gonna turn to face the back of the mat and right leg is now extended behind us. Give me a tabletop crunch, rounding the spine, drawing knee up towards the chest, drawing belly in, and stepping the foot into lunge in between the hands, ankle below knee. You can place the foot there manually if you can't do it hands-free. Draw the breath in through the nose nice and slowly as we lift both arms overhead. As we exhale, find goddess arms, bending the elbows in line with the shoulders, palms face forward. Inhale, arms lengthen up to ceiling, look up. Exhale as we spinal twist to the right, drawing belly in, lowering arms down at our sides. Give me a deep breath in, bring both arms back overhead. Then exhale, fingertips to floor. If you lost the breath, no sweat. Extend the right leg behind you, pointing through the toes and return to a tabletop position. Still up on the tips of the fingers for me. Right toes are going to turn to face the right edge of your mat. Left leg extends down towards the back of the mat. Free arm comes up towards the ceiling. Excuse my back facing towards you. Lift the left leg into our half moon variation. We're holding here. Don't hold the breath. Just the fingertips come down to the mat. Right toes turn towards the back of the mat and left leg is extended behind us. Give me a crunch, drawing knee to chest, round the spine, draw belly in, step or place your foot into lunge right between the hands. Draw the breath in through the nose, slowly lifting both arms overhead. As we exhale, find goddess arms, bending elbows, palms face forward. Inhale, arms lift overhead. We exhale as we spinal twist to left, lowering arms down at our sides. Drawing breath in through the nose, both arms back overhead, facing forward. Exhale out through the mouth, fingertips come down to the mat. Extend your left leg behind you, point through the toes, and meet me back in tabletop on our hands and knees. Lower to puppy pose, bringing elbows down to the mat, stacked under the shoulders, palms face down to floor, and let the head hang heavy. Take a few breaths here. This is option 1 for your rest position anytime during the class, whether I cue it or not. Option 2 is to settle all the way to child's pose. Bring the big toes to touch, send the hips all the way down to the heels, and rest your forehead on the mat. If you're new to the class or these poses, try both of them out, see which feels more comfortable for you, and we'll finish our warm-up here in whichever pose you chose. Appreciate these few moments of stillness before we pick up our pace. Deepen your breath. Bring attention to whatever thoughts are going through your head. Follow the rise and the fall of your chest. As you inhale, slowly return back to tabletop. Spread the fingers nice and wide, tuck toes onto the mat, and lift the hips to down dog. Start by lifting knees off the mat, draw belly in. Keeping knees bent, we'll send hips up towards the ceiling as we press belly back towards thighs and gaze in between the feet. Bring some attention to your hands, pressing firmly into the pointer finger and the thumb. Slight outer rotation of the upper arms. Low belly draws in. Take some deep breaths here. Down dog is a total body stretch, so you might be feeling a lot of sensations. That's okay. Look forward, start to shift your weight forward and step or place your right foot into lunge in between the hands. Lift up to just the pointer and the middle finger and send your chest forward. Step up to half lift, feet step, hips width distance apart, flatten your back, hands to shins, gaze is down towards the floor. Lower to forward fold, gently bend the knees so that the belly can touch the thighs. Let arms and head reach towards the floor as hips stay reaching towards the ceiling. Tuck your chin in towards your chest, and one vertebrae at a time will round our spines up to a standing position. Take your time, let your chin come up from the chest, very last. Once you make it into a standing position, slowly lift both arms overhead, gaze up to ceiling. Lower to forward fold, bring the hands together, lower them down through heart center, hinge forward at the hips. Bend the knee so belly can touch thighs, arms and head hang to floor. Rise half lift, flatten your back, hands to shins. Step your right foot back into a lunge position. Bend the knees, plant your fingertips, step your right foot back, left knee is stacked right over the ankle. Lower the right knee down to the floor and untuck the toes, top of foot to mat. Inhale, both arms overhead. Exhale, fingertips to floor. Step back into tabletop. And lean forward for Chaturanga. Shoulders past the wrist. Bend the elbows, keeping them close to the body. Bring chest down first and then the hips until you're laying flat on the mat. Elbows up towards the ceiling, drawing the belly towards the spine to lift the chest off the mat. Then press into your toes in rest position, whether that's puppy pose, elbows to mat, or child's pose, hips to heels, and take just a breath or two here. For the first few times through, these rests will get a little bit shorter. So again, appreciate the stillness and deepen your breath. Use your inhale to return to a tabletop position. Spread fingers wide, tuck toes onto mat. And as you exhale, lift the hips to down dog. Knees lift, knees stay bent, hips up, belly to thighs. Gaze between the feet and take a few breaths here. If you're not feeling much sensation with the knees bent, try straightening one leg, pressing the heel down towards the floor, and see how that feels. And you can work switching between the legs, so straightening one leg, then switching and straightening the other. And you can play here the whole class if you like. Look forward, step your left foot into lunge, lifting up to pointer and middle finger. Step up to half lift, feet together, back is flat, hands to shins. Lower to folds, belly meets thighs, arms and head hang towards the floor. Tuck your chin in towards your chest and slowly round your spine until you're in a standing position. Once you make it up, slowly lift the arms back overhead, gaze up to ceiling, and lower to forward fold. Hands come down through heart center, belly touches thighs, crown of head reaches to floor. Rise half lift and flatten your back. Step your left foot back into lunge, right knee's over the ankle. Lower the knee down to the mat and uncurl the toes. Inhale, lifting both arms overhead. Find length through the sides of the body, out through the crown of the head. Exhale, fingertips down towards the floor, and step back into a tabletop position. Lean forward into Chaturanga, shoulders past wrists, bend the elbows, keep them close to body until you're all the way flat on mat. Draw the belly in to lift the chest off the mat, baby cobra, and press into your chosen rest position, whether that's puppy or child's, and take a few breaths here. A little shorter of a rest this time. Deepen the breath. On your inhale, rise back to tabletop. On your exhale, lift the hips to downward facing dog. Belly reaches back towards the thighs. It's easy for us to lose the pressure in our hands. We want equal weight in our feet as we do have in our hands. Deep breaths, then step or place your right foot into lunge, lifting up to pointer and middle finger. Stepping up to half lift, flattening your back. Lowering to forward fold, belly meets the thighs, and we'll slowly rise up to standing. Once you make it up, give me a deep breath in through the nose, lifting both arms overhead. Slow exhale out through the mouth, meeting me in forward fold, belly to thighs. Inhale, half lift, back is flat. Exhale as you step back into a plank position and lower the knees to tabletop. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, find Chaturanga, shoulders past the wrists, lowering all the way flat. Inhale to baby cobra, lift the chest, use the core, don't press into the hands. Then exhale to your rest position, puppy pose or child's. As soon as you make it to your rest position, rise right back to tabletop. Let's keep those heart rates up and exhale into downward facing dog, hips up towards the ceiling. I know down dog can be a lot, especially if this is your first time or first couple times practicing. You're welcome to skip any down dog at any time and hop back in when you're ready. If you need ease, you can find ease with both knees bent. Look forward and step your left foot into a lunge position. Breathe in as you find half lift, flattening your back. Exhale as you lower to forward fold. And draw the breath in as you slowly rise to standing. Try to draw the inhale out and exhale at the top. Deep breath in, arms come back overhead. And again, use your exhale to meet me in forward fold. Belly comes down. Rise half lift, flatten the back. Step your right foot back into a lunge position. Left knee is stacked over the ankle. If you want to challenge your balance to rise to high lunge, lift both arms overhead, nice and slow. If you need a little bit of help or ease, you can bring hands to thighs first and then extend arms overhead, whichever works best for you. Find length on both sides of the body, out through the crown of the head, and relax shoulders away from ears. Activate that right glute, activate your core, tuck the lower ribs in. Nice deep breaths. Then open a 5-pointed star facing the right side of the mat and lowering your arms down to shoulder height. Feet are faced forward. Turn the toes to face away from one another and bring both arms back overhead. As we exhale, we'll lower to goddess pose, bending the knees, stacking them over the ankles, bending the elbows, lowering them to shoulder height, and holding here. Deep breaths into the chest. We're strengthening our legs, we're lengthening our spines, we're opening the chest. Lots of great benefits here. Breathing here. Equal weight in all four corners of the feet. Try not to let the weight fall towards the ball, the foot, or the pinky, either or. As we inhale, we'll straighten the legs, straighten the arms overhead. As we exhale, bring hands to hips. Turn the toes now so they face in towards one another and hinge forward from the hips, bringing fingertips down towards the floor in front of you. Bend the knees if you need to make that happen. We're gonna take our peace fingers, pointer and middle finger, and wrap them around the big toes. Knees can be bent. Start with the arm strength, lengthen the spine out towards in front of you. Then we'll find a fold by bending the elbows, pointing them out to either side, the short edges of the mat, and reaching crown of head down towards the floor. Again, if you're feeling a lot of sensation in the legs, gentle bends in the knees will bring some ease. And I want everyone to shift the weight towards the balls of your feet, but keep the heels on the mat. Maybe feeling like you're gonna fall over just a little bit. Release the grip on your toes and bring your fingertips underneath the face and lengthen the spine forward. Walk into a lunge position, left foot turns towards the front of the mat, hands frame the forward foot, and right heel lifts off the mat. Step back into a plank position, planting the hands, lower the knees to tabletop. Exhale to Chaturanga, lowering down all the way flat. Inhale, baby cobra, chest lift, shoulders reach behind the heart. And exhale to your rest position. We will take a few rounds of breath in this rest. Deepen your breath, appreciate the stillness. Oftentimes through our day, we're not sitting still doing nothing until we're trying to go to sleep at night. So this is a rare time to give attention to our breath, attention to our thoughts, and appreciate that. As you inhale, rise back to tabletop and use your exhale to lift to downward facing dog, hips up towards the ceiling, low belly draws in. Thinking of your body like an upside down V. Lengthening the legs, lengthening the spine. Getting a little added blood flow to the head. Look forward and step your right foot up to lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Inhale as you step up to half lift, flattening your back. Exhale to folds, belly falls down to thighs. And slowly inhale as you rise back to a standing position, taking your time. Once you make it back to standing, deep breath in, lifts arms back overhead, gaze up to ceiling. And exhale to fold, belly comes down to thighs. Inhale, half lift. On your exhale, step your left foot back into a lunge position and rise to high lunge, either lifting both arms straight overhead or bringing hands to thigh first. Tuck the low ribs in, engage left glute, square shoulders away from ears. Gaze is slightly up towards the ceiling. Give me a couple deep breaths into the chest. Open to 5-pointed star, facing the left side of your mat. Feet are forward and arms at shoulder height. Bring both arms straight up towards the ceiling and turn your toes away from one another. On your next exhale, we'll bend the knees into goddess pose, stacking them over the ankles, bending elbows in line with shoulders, palms face forward. Taking a few breaths here. See if you can sink your hips down just a little bit more, but don't push yourself, know your limits. Deep breaths into the chest. As we inhale, we'll straighten the legs, straighten the arms overhead. As we exhale, we'll bring our hands to our hips. Turn the toes so they face in towards one another. Hinge forward from the hips and bring fingertips down to floor. Bend those knees if you need to. We're gonna take the same variation this time. Peace fingers around big toes. If you're familiar with other variations, you're welcome to take any other variation you're familiar with. Otherwise, we're bending the elbows out to the sides, reaching crown and head to floor, drawing low belly in. Lead with your chest as if you want your chest to touch down towards the mat. Maybe shake the head yes and no a few times, help loosen the neck. Release your grip and bring your fingertips underneath the face and find length through the spine. Walk into lunge, right foot turns forward, hands frame the forward foot, left heel lifts off the mat and step back into a plank position before lowering to tabletop. Exhale into Chaturanga, lower all the way down to the mat. Deep breath in for baby cobra. And exhale to your rest position. Taking a few more rounds of breath here, bringing your attention back to your thoughts. Letting any thoughts come and go as they please. Inhale as you find your tabletop position. And exhale into downward facing dog, taking a few rounds of breath here. In this down dog, give me some deep cleansing breaths, breathing in through nose and out through mouth. Last down dog of the class, so maybe even give me a little sigh on the exhale. Look forward and step your left foot up to lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift. Exhale, lowering to forward fold. Inhaling as you slowly rise up to standing, then exhaling at the top. We're going to move into a bit of balance. You can stay facing the front of your mat. We'll start with our right leg as our standing leg. Lift the toes up, spread them nice and wide, and lower them back down to the floor so our foot is engaged. Don't lock out the joint, tiny micro bend in the knee. Then lift up to the tippy toes on the left foot. Open up the hips, so turn the knee out and bring your hands together at heart center for tree pose. If you know you're not the greatest with balance, your toes can stay on the floor, but if you'd like a challenge, bottom of the foot can either come to the thigh, the calf, or the thigh. Just make sure to skip the knee. And hip stays open. Standing leg is not locked out. Find length out through the crown of your head. Engage your core. Melt shoulders away from ears. If you want even more of a challenge for balance, try extending your branches or your arms up overhead. Maybe adding a little breeze to your tree so you can sway side to side and keep your balance. It'll help to keep your core engaged. If arms were extended up overhead, bring hands back together, lower them down through heart center, and step your left foot flat to the mat. We're gonna switch legs, so now all the weight is in the left foot. Lift those toes up, spread them nice and wide, tiny micro bend and standing leg. Lift up to the toes of the right foot and open up that hip. Whichever option you took on the opposite side, you're gonna do the same here. So I was at thigh, so I'm gonna come back to thigh, open up the hip, and start with hands at heart center. Find length out through the crown of the head, root down through left foot. And if you tried extending the branches on the opposite side, do the same here. If you added a little wind, a little breeze to your tree, do the same here. If the branches of your arms are extended, bring hands down through heart center and step your right foot down to the mat. Leave your hands at heart center, lower your chin to your chest, and either close your eyes or keep your gaze focused on one spot on the mat. Focus comes back to the breath. Take a few moments here to yourself. Lower your arms down by your sides, lift chin from chest. Give me a deep breath in through your nose, lift both arms overhead. Slow exhale out through the mouth into forward fold, belly to thighs. We'll take a few moments here. Option for a variation here, you can take Ragdoll by grabbing onto opposite elbows. Helps to create a little more length in the spine here. Keep the low belly drawing in. And make sure belly stays nice and close to those thighs. Don't be afraid to bend the knees. Maybe find a little bit of a sway side to side. Then rise to half lift. Step back into a plank position and we'll hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down to your belly. Bring your arms along the sides of your body, palms face up. Turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Bring big toes together and let heels fall away from one another just to help relieve any tension in the low back. Maybe wiggle the hips a little side to side, then wiggle shoulders away from ears. Taking another short rest period here as we start to slow down our movement and wind down our practice. Maybe close the eyes. Attention comes back to the breath. Slowly turn your head to the opposite side. And let everything go onto your mat. Bring your chin to the mat, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and for one final time, press yourself into your chosen rest position. If you're in child's pose, I offer you a rounded variation by bringing arms along the sides of your body, palms face up towards the ceiling, and shoulders rolled down towards the floor. Nice and slow, make your way to a seated position. I'll give everyone a few moments to make it there. You'll be sitting in the center of your mat with your legs extended down the length of your mat and your feet flexed. Once you're in your seated position, lift both arms overhead, drop chin to chest. Then round the spine into rounded back stretch, placing hands at the knees, thumbs facing on the inside, elbows out to the side like elephant ears. Relax the shoulders down the back and take some deep breaths here. relieving tension all the way from the neck down to the tailbone. Slowly lift the spine up right into staff pose, planting hands on either sides of your hips, finding length of the spine up towards the ceiling, then relaxing back to a neutral spine. Bend your knees, planting your feet on the mat. Place your hands on the back side of your thighs and roll down until you're flat on your back. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Eyes can be open or closed. Take a few breaths here. Straighten your legs onto the mat. Draw the right knee in toward your chest for Apanasana, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee. Feet are flexed. As you inhale, fill belly like a balloon. As you exhale, draw the thigh closer to the body. If you feel any discomfort on your knees, hold on to back of thigh instead. Extended leg is also engaged, pressing into the mat. Chin is slightly tucked in towards the chest once again. Release your leg and return it to the mat. Left knee draws in towards the chest, holding below the knee or on back of thigh, using your inhale to fill the belly up and your exhale to draw the thigh closer to body. As you exhale, release the leg and return it to the mat. On your inhale, draw both knees to the chest, feet side by side, holding below the knees or on back of thighs, whatever's more comfortable. Just like how we started our class. If you'd like to find a little bit of movement, you can gently rock side to side, helping to massage muscles on the back side of the body. Keep the thighs drawn in towards the chest. Release your arms down to the floor at shoulder height, palms face up. Let the knees fall to the right side of the body into recline spinal twist as head gently turns to the left. Start with knees in line with the hip. And then if you want less sensation, wiggle the knees away from the hands. If you want more sensation, a deeper twist, wiggle the knees up so they're closer to the arms. On the inhale, knees draw to center. On the exhale, knees fall to left, head turns to right. If you made any adjustments with your knees, do the same on this side as well. Slowly draw both knees back to the center of your chest. Hold on to the legs, pulling thighs close to body one last time. Lift your head to meet your knees. Take a nice deep breath in, hold it at the top. As you exhale out through the mouth, find your final resting pose, laying flat on the mat, separating your legs and arms nice and wide, palms face up, toes fall out, eyes are closed. Take up as much space as you can with your body. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through the mouth, let everything go onto the mat. Relax the muscles in your face, particularly around the brow, and follow every rise and fall of your chest. Today, I'll ask you to bring your attention to your nostrils and see if you can feel a breath as it enters and leaves your body. Keep your focus there. And imagine that with every exhale, your body relaxes a little more onto your mat. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to the nostrils, feeling the breath. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome some movement back to your body. Then when you're ready, gently roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side. Your arm can support your head like a pillow if you're not quite comfortable. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze lowered to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. And take your time sitting up. Just keep an ear open so you know where we're going. As always, to finish class, we take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. That's breathing in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. Today, we're going to add movement to our breath. So as we exhale, we'll round the spine, dropping chin to chest as we do in cat pose. On the inhale, we'll lift and arch the spine, tilting our head up to the ceiling as we do in cow pose. We'll take that 3 times through. We'll all start on an exhale, so release all the breath you have out of the body, round the spine, drop chin to chest. Then breathe in through the nose, starting to fill the body with breath, lifting and arching the spine, tilting head up towards ceiling. Exhaling out through the mouth as we round the spine. Let the tailbone lead the movement. Drop chin to chest. Breathing in through the nose, filling the body for 2. Lifting and arching, head up to ceiling. Slow exhale as we round the spine and drop chin to chest. Last time, nice deep breath in, filling the body with as much breath as you can, filling the body up. Slow, slow exhale as we round the spine and drop our chin towards our chest. Take a second to thank yourself for taking this time out of your day for your practice. I'd like to thank you for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors and recognizes and respects the light that exists within each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. If you did, a new version of this class is aired every Monday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, I also teach a core yoga class. It's structured much like this class. However, I throw in a bunch of core targeting exercises. It could be a lot of fun and also really tiring. That class is aired every Wednesday at 8 a.m. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Try out the other classes that we have to offer. I hope to see you next time.